Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Asad Moyessi, Technical Consultant at Serity GmbH, a Servicenow partner specialized in security and risk field. In this video, we are going to get familiar with policy and compliance management as one of the four Servicenow GRC core applications. Before we dive into the explanation of the process, it's a good idea to introduce the key terminology used in this application. Policies are the internal objectives and goals of an organization to ensure consistent sustainability while understanding inherent risk and adhering to external regulations. Authority documents are the external legislations and regulations, standards, best practices, and etc. that are required for compliance of an organization with regulations. Citations are parts of these authority documents with specific requirements cited by them. They relate the authority documents to the applicable controls. Entities are records that aggregate GRC information related to a specific item. Controls are the actual control activities that are to be performed by an organization. And control objectives are the templates from which these controls are generated. Issues are GRC tasks that allow users to document issues or findings and track the response to remediate or accept them. Now let's briefly go through the process. By applying entities to control objectives, which are related to authority documents and policies, a control will be generated for each entity. The compliance of those controls must always be monitored, and issues can be raised in case of any findings. Those issues then need to be analyzed and resolved to assure compliance of the control. In case users are unable to resolve an issue or fulfill a control, they can request a policy exception which will follow its own separate life cycle and can either be accepted or rejected. As long as there are controls in place, they must be continuously monitored and can be reviewed on the dashboard. So it's now time to switch to the platform and see everything in practice. I am now looking to the platform as a compliance manager. I will be impersonating other users with different roles later on just to show you the process as closely to the reality as possible. As you can see, a compliance manager is able to view other GRC application modules such as audit and risk. However, he will be mainly working with policy and compliance module. Policy and compliance allows the creation and management of policies that can be mapped to authority documents through citations. It provides structured workflows for identification, assessment, and continuous monitoring of control activities. A compliance manager can get an overview of compliance of the existing controls on the dashboard. A list of the records behind each report is accessible by just clicking on them. Let's now move on and take a look at the policy table. A policy record has a life cycle starting in draft state after its initial creation by a compliance user or users with a higher role, and by submission it goes to the review state to be reviewed by the selected reviewers. And then, if applicable, it is sent to approvers for their approval. After approval of a policy, it moves to published state, and a knowledge base article is automatically generated for this policy in the knowledge base category Governance, Risk and Compliance, and is visible to all internal users for their information. For a simpler management, Servicenow provides a valid to date for policies, which is basically an expiration date so that there are no outdated policies in the system. After this valid to date, a policy will move to a retired state, and if necessary to republish this, it can start again in draft state in order to be reviewed again, approved again, and republished. Policies are related to control objectives found in the related list. Through a control objective record, different related lists, such as control and citation, are accessible. The authority document from which this citation was extracted can be found here. For example, in this NIST authority document includes 1056 different citations. There might be many different authority documents with their thousands of citations that an organization has to work with based on their field of work. Some examples of authority documents can be HIPAA or HITRUST for healthcare organizations. The organizations can choose to import their data from their already existing files like Excel files or XMLs, or to use Unified Compliance Framework or UCF application. A UCF subscription provides up-to-date information about the authority documents, citations, and their related control objectives, which are directly importable to Servicenow. In addition, UCF recognizes overlapping citations from different authority documents and reduces the workload by satisfying all of those similar requirements by performing only one related control. Let's get back to the control objective record and take a look at the controls. For each individual entity included in the entity types department and vendor is a related control generated. As you can see, there's only one control created for this individual entity and will be sent to the entity owner. In addition to the automatic generation of controls by applying entity types to control objectives, a compliance manager can manually add new controls to a control objective and then add new entities to this. By selecting an attestation respondent, an attestation assessment will be generated from the predefined attestation templates and will be sent to the selected respondents. I'm going to send the attestation assessment now to a normal compliance user. The generated assessment must be completed by this user. So now I'm going to impersonate this user and complete the assessment. The selected user can find the attestation assessment on the module My Attestation. By clicking Take Assessment on the record, he can answer the questions inside the assessment. He can provide evidence by attaching files to this record. Based on the user responses to the attestation assessment, the control will be marked as compliant or non-compliant and moved to review state for the compliance manager to review the responses. In case the responses are not satisfactory, the compliance manager can return the control to draft state and ask for more information. If needed, issues can be raised in this state. If everything is fine and satisfactory, the compliance manager can move the control to monitor state. Continuous monitoring application enables compliance managers to add indicators to a control. Indicators help monitoring the compliance of a control on a regular basis. Applying indicators to controls will generate indicator tasks which can be of the type manual, giving the instructions in plain text, or basic, which checks the result based on the given criteria on a regular basis and gathers the supporting data on the given table. Indicator templates, which are related to control objectives, can automatically generate indicator tasks for all the related controls. Let's look at the control record again. The related indicator is now listed in the related list indicators. Although this indicator task is scheduled daily, the compliance manager can execute it anytime. The indicator result shows failed, and this will result in the control to become non-compliant, and at the same time an issue will be generated. The control will remain non-compliant until all the related issues are completed. An issue record has its own life cycle from new to closed. Issues are automatically assigned to the entity owner and can be responded to in various ways. Let's now impersonate the entity owner Alan Schwant. The entity owner can see the issue on the My Open Issues module. One way to respond to an issue is by requesting a policy exception. Sometimes applications might not be applicable at all to some controls, so the entity owner can request a policy exception so that he doesn't get this issue anymore. The compliance manager can sometimes add a remediation task so that the entity owner will complete them in order to resolve the issue. The entity owner can respond to the issue by either accepting the problem or to assure remediation of the issue by providing the steps they will take to get compliant to this control and then provide evidence. A compliance user can be added to review this issue resolution. After closing the issue with remediate response, the control will go back to compliant status. The compliance manager can get an overview of all the compliant and non-compliant controls on the dashboard. This demo was an introduction on capabilities of policy and compliance on Servicenow. You can find more demo and introduction videos on our YouTube channel. Feel free to contact us in case you have questions or need consultant. Thank you for watching.